The Carnivores is a 2020 film, but I think this
Yeah.
is one of those movies that released. It says 2020 on IMDb, but I want to say it was released sometime. Okay, it says on the internet it was released June 4th, 2021. So technically this is a 2021 film, not a 2022 film. That's okay. We still watch it. We're still going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But typically we try to we stick mostly to films
this
that
year.
come out this year. So
Yeah.
but we also do other ones. We just did Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell.
Bloody muscle bodybuilder in hell.
Okay, so the Carnivores. Oh God, what's this one about? Let's see. What does IMDb say? Because this is a tough one. Alice and Brett's dog Harvey is dying, and he's ruining everything. What had been a bright little family is quickly getting consumed by clouds of self-doubt, suspicion, and a disturbing amount of ground beef. I'm gonna let Kaylee lead this one. So, thoughts?
I was super into this movie. I think that it's a very weird film.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people will hate it.
Yes.
But for me, I was really into it. I think that the performance from the two leads is very believable. They felt like a real couple. And I think that it's another movie that really shows like a spiraling into madness in a very realistic way. Like,
Yes.
it's not over dramatized. It's just weird and full of like a lot of pain and confusion and jealousy, and it was really fascinating to watch. But the weirdness I can't underemphasize. We watched a trailer to this movie. I think we watched part of the trailer before watching it, and I do think that the trailer gives a slightly different vibe than the film. Because the trailer kind of had me feeling like it was gonna be like the dog was like what's that guy, the serial killer,
David Berg? No, not David Berg. Son of Sam. Like
Son of
Sam.
Sam. Yeah,
Sam
that was
Sweet.
like that's kind of what I thought
Getting
was gonna
messages
start
from the
happening.
neighbor's dog to kill.
But that's not the case. That's not the case with this.
Wait, David Berkowitz is the son of Sam Killer, but is he the one or is it Sam? I think it's David Berkowitz.
I don't know his name. I just know the Son of Sam.
David Berkowitz is the son of Sam Killer. But is he also the guy who talked to the dog?
I thought so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Anyway,
That's just what the trailer vibes gave me. But like I said, I don't think that's the case at all with this film. I think that it's shot really well too. I thought that there was a lot of artistic shots, but they weren't overindulgent or pretentious feeling to me, like some artsy movies can feel. This still felt really grounded, and I appreciated every angle that we were getting. There's a lot of emphasis on meat in this movie, and I really like how it's displayed in like a sexual way, but also in like a more visceral, violent way. Having that juxtaposition, I feel, was like really important for the story, and it was really gross too at times. But what did you think?
yeah, I mean, I think important note here, not horror, right? Much more of a psychological drama thriller, right?
Yes.
Thriller is a stretch,
whispered.
but there is some thriller aspect to it, but it's mostly an atmosphere, right? It's kind of alluding to a thriller, but without it really ever culminating into thriller moments, right? So it's more of a drama, an edgy drama. So that's important note. So for horror fans, this is not a film that you're going to be like, pleased with if you're looking for that. I definitely think this is much more geared towards women. Even though I am a man who enjoyed it, this is not one I'd revisit. I don't have any interest in watching it again. But I did like the very realistic exploration of the breakdown of the human mind. And as she had said, it isn't overtly theatrical in its presentation, and the performances don't follow that either, which I did appreciate. it wasn't as I was gonna say it kind of reminds me of something we watched earlier from the year, Alone with You, where you have, you know, a lesbian couple and the one girl's at home pining over the other girl, and the other girl like won't come home and doesn't really love her back the way that she loves her, and she feels like the relationship's falling apart. It has similar vibes to that movie. I definitely like Alone with You more.
Me too.
But I thought that this was a unique take on that idea of the confusion of being alive and a person and being in a relationship, and how we're not all the same, and how you know we deal with things differently, and you know your mental state is something that can wax and wane. You can have strong moments and you can have weak moments. Everybody has their weaknesses. You know, your mental state is a touchy thing.
It's fragile.
Yes. I think the performances are good. It's a very indie film. It has a very low budget film feel to it. But I do think it has a lot of heart, and I do think that the director did have a lot to say. Whether or not you'll get that message is kind of up to you, and if this film makes sense to you. I think I got most of it, but this is an interpretation style film, so that's subject to change depending on, you know, how you connect with it. But yeah, overall, a cool, unique film that I think a lot of people will not like. I think a lot of people will pass over, but I do think that there will be some people who really, really connect with this, and this will be like a favorite of theirs. This will be one of their like hidden gem movies that they'll recommend to other like-minded people. So I do think it will find a cult following in specific communities, namely like female lesbian communities. I think will probably be the one it finds the most weight with.
It's refreshing to see, you know, because I think that with a lot of psychological like dramas or thrillers about relationships, we're really used to seeing like a heterosexual relationship, and seeing like a same-sex couple, it's just interesting. It's not that there's, you know, I think that there are similarities and differences between those types of relationships, right? Like obviously there's universal relationships, or relationship traits, I should say. But this one was neat to see the darker side of, you know, two women together. And especially with a dog involved too. I also think that that's important, you know, because the animal was kind of, it's complicated. It was a really complex symbol for the movie. So
the movie will leave you scratching your head a bit, right? And that's okay. I think this is a good conversation starter for people who enjoyed it and got it. There will be others who watch it and be like, that was it?
Huh?
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
This is definitely the definition of a nothing happens movie. And I totally get that. If you're somebody who watches and you're like, nothing happened, this is boring as shit, I get it. I totally understand it. I disagree. I definitely think there was enough going on, enough threads there to pull later, to try to unravel the mystery a bit. But I don't think you're ever going to get a clear answer. I think you're just going to have your interpretation, and that's fine. Last note here, the main girl's girlfriend, who, you know, is obviously the second lead here, the one that doesn't want to have as much to do with the relationship, it isn't the central focus point of the movie, is one of the girls in the movie The Invitation from 2015, which is an excellent film.
yes.
And I highly recommend it. But she is in that as the other house guest that people didn't know was coming. There's two of those house guests they didn't know were coming, and she's the female of that group. Excellent in that, very good in this. But if you're going to watch one or the other, watch The Invitation.
Yes.
It's definitely a superior film, but I think this is worth a watch if it sounds interesting to you at all. If it doesn't, it's not going to win you over.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah. But if you're like, oh, maybe I might like that,
then definitely check it out.
then check it out. That's that.
Bye.